Greetings, community. It's Kevin from OneTwoComicTalk. It's good to be with you. Cocktails and comics. God, I love those margaritas. So, I hope you had a good week. I know for a non-Marvel week, it was rather expensive. There was a lot of variants. There was a lot of expensive ratios and just things that kind of hurt. For those of you who've been kind of jumping on a lot of the Tinian stuff, there was Batman and then Win. Both had variants that cost a lot. And both had, stories that are keeping everybody really, really captivated, and that's really what it boils down to me, is what kind of package is being offered. And in the case, more times than not, you need good writing. Along with the writing, obviously, you need, when it comes to comics, an artist that can go ahead and depict that correctly. And I think in the team of what Tinian's been able to do in the various stories that he's been able to tell, depending on who he's telling them to, in the sense of, is it a Boom thing? Is it a DC thing? Amounts to not only who is he telling it to, but at the same time, how is he telling it? And this allows him a vast spectrum of telling ability, which is cool for us readers, because we're the recipients, and how should I say, the individuals that are most benefiting from this, which is awesome. Outside of the fact that if you want a particular cover, you're going to pay. Speaking of which, basically, I know there's a lot going on out there. I know everyone's real busy as far as the other shows that are going on. I know there's auctions going on. I know there's a lot of people going live. Just want to go over a few books. I know Kai and I went over a few books, and I kind of want to just kind of highlight what we got and why we got it, in the sense of how we feel about some of these storylines that are coming out, and I have to admit, there's been so much that have come out for me in the past 2 weeks that I haven't had the ability to read everything I wanted to at this point. So I won't get in necessarily a lot of the quote unquote reviews, as much as I will do what I normally do and touch on my likes of why we picked what we did. So starting off with the Tinian stuff, being that it's the definitely the flavor, along with peach, that's going on right now, is something. Hey John, how you doing? Something is killing the children is killing it, and it's a great story along with a great writer. And this is my example that I will be giving throughout all these Tinian books that I'm giving, is that the fact that this book in particular allows him to write in one particular fashion, one particular style, for a particular demographic, which is awesome, because it allows him to be able to, I'm just going to keep showing covers as we go through along. It allows Tinian to be able to tell that particular tale to that particular demographic the way he wants to tell it. So it's cool that when he gets into other stuff, such as, let's say, a Batman run, he knows that he has a responsibility to the reader to tell it a particular way, but at the same point, he still offers his own flavor, and he stays with that also. And he's also evolving that universe, which I think outside of just a regular storytelling, I think the evolvement needed to happen too. And by adding characters, and not just arbitrarily added characters, but by adding characters that have significant storylines, and not being overly pushed in your face to try to say that these are going to be significant characters and we're going to force it down your throat, but to properly integrate it and weave it into the storyline, that's something not everyone can do. So accepting this almost monumental task, when you think about it, when you're given something as big as a Batman title, right? Oh, Rod hit me up for an invite, but I could have swore I sent it to him. Is that you have a responsibility to conform to a particular writing style that may not necessarily be comfortable. So in that, hey, John, I think he's done a great job. I'm going to bring in John. Hey, John.
Hey,
And then
hey.
I'm going to figure out life and see if I can bring in a Rod because he's dying to come in also.
Oh, perfect timing. I'm going to open my cocktail here, get myself ready to go.
And how are you doing, sir? It's been a while.
I am, my wife calls this summer vacation John. It's a very different John than most of the school year. And she does enjoy this guy. He's a little more jovial, a little more goofy, a little more troublemaker maybe. I just got done doing a live stream tonight that I've been wanting to do for about a year. And if you guys haven't, later on want to check out my channel if you missed it, I had Stay Puff on there with me, and I had Fire Guy Ryan, and we were talking about this television show, The Wire, and we did almost an hour and a half discussion on the theme. We're not doing season breakdowns. We're not doing anything that I've ever seen anybody ever do for The Wire before. Instead, we're just doing thematic discussions, something that I think you really dig, right? So we picked 4 themes, the biggest themes from the show, stuff like addiction, truth, and in this case we did corruption, and it was a phenomenal discussion of what does corruption mean on the show. And it was just, we'd been waiting to talk about this show for a year. We all committed to doing it. We kept changing our minds on how to do it, and then finally we discussed theme, and we all decided to rewatch the show together. So we rewatched it offline over the course of like a month, rewatched the entire show, and then we just fired up the camera, the live stream this evening for the first of maybe 5 hour-long or hour-and-a-half long discussions. So it was a blast. So
I love that. And again, well, you know what it is what you've done, and I don't know if it was a total conscious thing on your behalf, but you've taken a very theatrical approach to actually analyzing, you know, in this case, this movie or the show, this ongoing series. And I love that because that in-depth style is not something everyone, you know, it's hard to actually rip things apart or analyze things when one of the greatest lines I've ever heard is it's hard to pose a question when you have no idea, 1, how to pose it, and 2, what the answer may be.
Oh yeah.
Right. So sometimes when you formulate a good question, you're actually leading the answer to a particular direction that is either answering a question you particular have in general or that the audience may have. Right.
Right. And
no, that's brilliant. I love that.
We felt like the show or the TV show defies description, so our show better defy description as well. And there he is, the man.
Rican.
Cheers to
you, doing, Rod? Cheers to you, Rod.
Oh, he's getting his hookup going. But anyways, we wanted to do something that was different for a show that's totally different.
That's it's awesome. Hey, Old Wolf, dude, if I keep forgetting, you know what? I couldn't have forgot you. You had to be in B. So if you're in B, you Old Wolf, you have the link. You can jump in.
And I heard you talking.
How you doing, Rod?
I heard you talking about this comic when I jumped in. This is all Something's Killing the Children behind me here. And issue 7, which I think I saw you holding up, is great. Yeah. It's a really good read, and I really have been enjoying it.
I got back to issue 1 and to get another a copy of issue 1, and I do have an issue 7. And what I was trying to do is actually find me out there in the wild a very clean issue 7. You know, because what I'm doing right now is I'm compiling a whole lot of Tinian stuff to send in the CBCS.
Nice.
And when I mean a whole lot, I'm talking like a good 15 books.
Ooh.
You know, and I have 2 1-in-25s of the Peach Momoko, and one of them I think is the I think what is coming is the what I got I believe is the FOC Virgin, and what I believe is coming is the 1-in-25 dress. So I will have one of each.
And did you set aside some of this new one from him?
I have check this out. I have A and B coming, and I think it's in here. Then maybe it's in the other one. That B cover that you're holding, I got the sketch of that FOC sketch.
Ooh, nice. I picked this because it had all those characters on the cover, and I thought, you know what? If one of these is going to pop, it's going to be the one that has all those characters on the cover. Ooh, is that the Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers?
Yeah, so I had to buy one on eBay because I didn't think I'd find one in the wild, and then I got one in the wild today for cover. So I got two, but I'm gonna hope when things open up. Ryan is always at Brave New World, and when I mean always, I mean he's picking up his regular pulls, and then he's visiting there. Ryan Parrott, by the way, and he usually does a signing event about once every 6 months. So I'm gonna get all my stuff together, and so yeah, I got the cover A, and I liked it so much that I got a cover A, and then I ordered a cover A and a cover B, and then I got this is the one I was telling you about.
Nice.
And then I got this one, which I didn't think I'd find at all in the wild. So this is that
sketch cover, yeah.
Yeah. So again, this is all this shit I'm sending in.
Dang.
And then I managed to be able to get this, so this is my second one of these. So I'll send those two in there.
And a bunch of the number ones for Something's Killing the Children are spiking right now too.
Yeah. And then this is also signed by Brandon Easton. So my understanding, there's only 10 of these right now because Brandon didn't get to sign anymore. So I'm a big fan of this book anyways. He's killing it. So being that I was able to get me a signed copy at cover, I was like, fuck yeah.
Chaos, that show was 2 hours ago, brother. Did you miss the show? Sean, Ryan, and I were on 2 hours ago. 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific. So we're done. We done it, brother. So hopefully you can catch the replay and enjoy it. But yeah, we did it. We slayed that.
So yeah, that was one of basically 3 full store folios full of books that we got this.
Can you highlight Count Von Strange? Count Von Strange is saying something there that I don't understand.
Yeah, let me do this really quick. I want to paste this in there, and if anybody's want to jump on and count what's good and all that. Oh, sketch. There it is.
He said the sketch cover was supposed to be a 1 in 100, but it was messed up, and the color issue is the 1 in 100. I don't understand that.
All right, so I believe. Okay, let me get my other store folio, and I'll explain that. I believe what he's really referencing is not Wind, but it's Batman. Batman, Dark Metal. My understanding, or Death Metal. My understanding. Oh, and I put it all away. Damn it. My understanding is they fucked up at Diamond, and the party release variant that was supposed to come out at 12:01 midnight Wednesday was printed at the rate of the 1 in 100 variant. Printed at the rate of the sketch variant, which was supposed to be a 1 in 100. They got switched.
The print rate.
So right now, if you bought one of those on eBay at that high rate, you have a now cover price book, which is kind of a bummer. And which I got one at cover price just for that reason. I'm like, wait, you're telling me this is a fuck up? I'll buy the fuck up at cover? Absolutely. And that's what I was told at my shop here, by the way.
That's cool.
So
that's cool.
Hey, Johnny boy, I see a 9.6 behind your head, man.
You want to see it? You want to share this? You want to get a little? You want to get a little closer?
If Kevin allows Johnny boy to do that, what the hell is that, man?
This is the first appearance of Elektra. 9.6. The name is spelled wrong. I don't know if anybody's noticed this. Every time I pull this out, Bear Island tells me, they spelled her name wrong on the cover of her first appearance. Because there's no C in her name.
Right.
Apparently they didn't tell the person doing the writing on the cover of her first appearance. But yeah, so this was a gift from Comics for Blame. He saw my wish list for 2020. And he's like, he knew I didn't have this, and so he gifted it to me. It's crazy. Unbelievable book. It was really the only key Daredevil first appearance that I was missing besides his own first appearance. I have the Bullseye. I got a lot of the key villain appearances, but I did not have this book. And 9.6 is stupid, and it's a newsstand.
Oh,
newsstand. Yeah, it's my only slabbed Daredevil book, I think.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so Chaos, yeah, we're doing 5 live streams just to talk about this television series. And they're not on the seasons. I was telling Kevin that we felt like the show breaks all the rules and does things that you're not supposed to do for television. So we decided we weren't going to review it the same way as everybody else, break down seasons or any of that kind of stuff. We wanted to get to it deeper than that. And so we decided that thematically we could discuss things more broadly and all the ways things interconnect if we just looked at themes like corruption and addiction and truth. And so we did corruption tonight. And thank you, Gore Vidal. I thought it was a really lively discussion, and everybody brought a lot, including the chat, to what we were doing. So thank you for those that came by.
Yeah, most definitely. That's awesome. And again, like I was saying, I like it how you break it down as opposed to the stereotypical forensic way of people would normally do it, that you approach it from a very theatrical aspect, and either from a director or a thespian side, it's almost the same thing. So it's really cool that you do that, because it allows the insight as a person that's viewing it going, oh wow. I dig that.
And those guys are just as in love with that show as me. And I think all of us have said we've seen the entire show at least 4 times. All of us, we are really into the minutia of that program. So much so that we could get into remember in season 4 that the ring that the one guy buys goes from this person's house to that guy's house to this. We can tell you the story arc of a piece of jewelry on the show.
That is so cool. I mean, that's what the true, by definition, fan is. You know what I mean? You're a fanatic. You got all that breakdown, and and as we all are, we're these fanatical, geeky, nerdy individuals that, the cool thing is we got a community to share it with.
There it is, Yarn Man.
There's the man.
Although I like the way Old Wolf says it better.
Yarn Man.
Yarn Man.
Yarn Man. We have to get this on Comic-Com's top 10.
You gotta start that again.
We gotta get this on top 10. Yarn Man. First issue. Right here.
Here it is, man.
Telling you, man. It'll be an experiment. See if we can get it on there. Just some.
It's the next Miles Morales. I can already tell.
Look at this guy.
Right.
Why wouldn't you want this guy on the top 10? Look at that. Tickle, 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 tickle.
I like
look
it.
at that.
It's gonna be exclusive. The next thing you know, man.
I got this as a gag on my 50th birthday. And I thought I was the only one that ever had this freaking book. No, Edwin's got it. And I think
Really?
I should get it too. I'm telling you. We
Get
should
it now
home.
before it spikes.
Just buying one spiked it up 100%.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
True. And I'm gonna look it up.
Come on, eBay.
I'm curious
you
to
get it
see
for
how
$1.50.
it
$1.50 at eBay.
Really?
$1.50. Come on, John. Go for it. Get your phone out. Come on,
I'm all about it.
do it now.
I'm on it right now.
Well, I'm starting to sell some boxes, so I might buy them just to put them in the boxes to sell them. Send them out.
There you go.
Gotta plug the indies, you know.
Especially this. I mean, Don Simpson.
Oh wow.
1989.
What?
1989.
Oh, 1989.
1989. They put this out.
Oh shit. Hey, I want you to notice, you know, I'm stepping it up. See, like the little banner, the little thing that's going across, the whole little welcome to the bar thing. Yeah, see, that's a step up for me. Look. Look, here's another one. Look. What do you think?
Oh, we're going high tech.
You like it? Yeah, I worked on that one all day.
That was good.
Yeah. I need to get a cocktail, man.
Well, if I reverse it, look at that. What do you think? See, it's same sign.
You need a thumbs up.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Damn. I got to do that on the backside.
Thumbs up on the backside is not comfortable.
Well, that'll be tomorrow's job. It takes a day to get this stuff. You know how it is. It takes a long time to put all this stuff together.
Yeah, that's a lot of work too.
It was. Well, now you know why I don't go on the show and lay him a frame, man. I mean, this was supposed to be right here. This is supposed to be a map of the United States.
Did you get your eye patch?
I don't got no eye patch, but I know, you know, John Comics the Kid's got a Saturday morning show to do, man. So you gotta wear an eye patch, man. Throw an eye patch, make one.
I got a big day tomorrow. I'm doing the morning show, and then I'm going hunting with dollar bin fodder in my area, and then I'm coming back and I'm doing a late night show, and I'm trying to fit another one in between. So we'll see. So it's a busy Saturday, but I'm on vacation now. I don't have any work to be worrying about for a few weeks, so I'm good.
Perfect. Hey, Rob,
Yes.
That was last week. That whole floor.
2 weeks ago, I was on the show and I lost. I booted several times. I lost it. So I'm gonna pace myself tonight. I'm gonna be much better. Hey, Kirk sent me some photos of the garden beds he's been building at his place, and they looked amazing. So shout out to you, Green Thumb Kirk, there, man. Good work, brother.
Actually, I have a request, Kirk. If you could, if I haven't seen him, I apologize. If you could post a picture or two on Instagram, I'd love to see it. Seriously, dude, I'm a amateur gardener myself. I like shit like that. And eventually, when I get my backyard done, I actually started working on the pavers again today. That yeah, man, I hope to get my whole side over there all done as far as being able to grow a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I got a bunch of grass out here. If you want to come out here and mow my lawn, you can take that shit with you, whatever you want to use it with. But there's a bunch of grass out here. But it keeps raining, man. It keeps raining. It's Jurassic Park out here, man.
Well, go cut your grass.
I ain't cutting my damn grass.
Why?
Why? Because I hate the heat.
Oh, you know anybody with cows?
Oh, well, actually,
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, I'll be completely honest, man.
Okay.
The wifey likes to go out there and cut the grass. She does it. She does it. I just go out there with the blower. So I'm being real, man. This is completely 1,000% real, man.
How's the blower go?
Right now. Look at John. I hate the heat, man. I love the snow. I hate the heat. I love the snow.
You're in the wrong place.
I know.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing in Florida?
The whole families, half the families down here, man. They people know. They know that when it hits when it hits 80, keep me inside the doors, man.
You
I
know
open
that
that door, I'm like, heat. Oh shit, close the door. Drop the AC to 70. I'm like, fine. Take the trash can out. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. No, someone else do it. I'm quarantined right now, man. The weekend, I don't want to do nothing with outside.
You're hilarious,
Heat,
man.
the damn heat, man.
You know, I don't mean to be like the math teacher on you, but if half of your family is in Florida, that means statistically there's another half somewhere else you could be with. I'm just saying.
Up north. Like my dad's still there. He just remarried. I love you, Dad. And then my other brother, my oldest brother up there, and my nephew. So they're like, that's why. Oh, damn it. Hate the damn heat, guys. You have no idea.
See, I can't. I've been a California kid my whole life. I can't handle the cold for very long. I mean, I go to the mountains. I'll take my girls and they'll go ski. I mean, I've been skiing and all that kind of stuff, but it's just not my jam, and I can't handle it for long periods of time. I like my sun. I like my sunshine.
So this is what people. Well, this is what most people don't realize. In, I would say, at least 47 of the states of this union does not realize that here in California, for the majority of from like Central all the way down to Southern California, we have this small window of climate that we can handle. Now that window is anything below 72 is too cold, and anything above 76 is a little too warm.
Right.
Now, depending on the humidity can assist, and depending on how close to the ocean you are and the breeze also aids in this, depending on, but that window is essentially it.
So is California humid? I mean, I've been there a couple of times, but is it?
Yeah.
So I can't stand the humidity.
It's a dry heat because it's very deserty. You know, I mean, my dad's got a place in Palm Springs and Palm Desert, and it's there's a huge chunk of California that's just freaking desert. It's just dry as heck. So no, it's not a heavy heat at all. California pampered is what Kirk is saying, and I totally agree. But it's also one of the few places you can surf and then drive an hour and then ski. Like you can legitimately do that.
But you don't stay long because you can't stand the cold.
Well, it depends on which one is worse, right? Like if they're making fake snow up in the mountains, then it's probably nice surf weather. If it's actually snowing up in the mountains, then it's probably wetsuit weather down at the beach, wherever you're going. And I've legitimately done both. And if I could only do one the rest of my life, it'd probably be surfing, but I suck at both. So let's just be honest. I'm probably going to do neither.
There you go.
Boogie board. That's why you boogie board.
You're watching Charlie do it.
What's that?
What's what doing?
You'll watch Charlie do the surfing.
Yeah, exactly. My girls are actually better surfers than me. I've put them in surf camps the last few years, and they do the like the baby waves and stuff. But I've got some great photos of them surfing. They're far better than me. There's this beach I go to, State Beach, where I can stand up to my waist in the water. The waves never get above my waist, but there's waves constantly, low, small waves. And I can stand there and they surf right past me. And I've got my phone. I'm not worried about getting it wet. I'm just standing there. And I've got some great photos of them surfing right by me. And I'm not worried. They're not going to fall and drown or anything. There's no sharks. It's not deep or whatever. It's perfect learning.
I've been stung by jellyfish. And every time I go to the beach with the wifey and friends, I got stung by jellyfish. I told my friends I stood on a stingray. They're like, "No, you're lying." I'm like, "You guys keep playing with me, man."
You got stung by a stingray?
I stood on one. I felt that thing through like under my foot. It didn't. Water. I'm just like,
dude, drag your feet next time.
People don't believe me when I tell these true stories, man. That's why I hate the beach.
Drag your feet. Don't pick up your feet. Drag.
My mom taught me you shuffle. You shuffle your feet when you walk on the sand.
I'm a Philly boy. From North Philly, man.
You know who else is from Philly? You know who else is from Philly? Yon Man. Yon Man is from Philly. We should buy this book.
I knew it.
Get it on the top 10 right here. Get it on. Go to eBay right now. Pick a copy up for like $1.50.
I swear, Rob keeps giving us reasons why he shouldn't live in Florida.
I hate you so much, John. You have no idea, man.
I think I do. I'm beginning to get an idea.
Jellyfish. Oh God, that was the worst, man.
Get your lady and move to California.
No,
yeah.
Medical. There's a lot of money to be made from medical in California, brother.
Oh my God.
Marijuana. Oh, I'm sorry.
Medical everything. Medical everything.
I actually wanted my son just to. Actually, I wanted to say I'm going to segue all this together. You're going to dig this. First, I'm going to talk about a book, Ludocrats. The reason why I'm going to talk about it is it's hard for most people to palate it, and I get that. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is there's a band that I grew up with that my son just discovered, and I just rediscovered, and that band name is Primus. You may have heard of this band because they wrote the song and theme song for the show South Park. That is Mark Claypool.
Didn't they have something about Isle of Cheese or something?
Sailing the Seas of Cheese is the name of one of their albums.
There you go. Thank you.
Why I'm bringing that up is they are such a wild and out there band that their music is a good way to give an analogy of how you would read Ludocrats. You know, it's that preposterous and that type of out there-ness, you know what I mean? So why did he bring that up? Well, in 1 year, when I first got together with my wife, and I believe it was either late 92. Yes, that's 1992. I woke up in the morning and went down the beach. Went down the beach and went skimboarding. If you don't know what that is, I ask that you look it up. I went skimboarding, went boogie boarding, went surfing, came home, went skateboarding, just thrashing on the curbs for a while, waiting for my time girlfriend, now wife, and my brother to get ready. We went to the mountains. We went skiing. I wasn't snowboarding yet. After skiing, we went to the Palladium to go see Fishbone, No Doubt, which that was their first gig in LA, and Primus. See how I did all that? See how I just see that?
Put this together like a freaking quilt.
I know.
And what do you
with yarn? With yarn. A quilt with yarn.
Dairy Queen.
K Titus, if you can get this going in
Japan, yes, just like Yarn Man.
Yarn Man. Let's get it going, okay? We'll get this on Comic Tom's top 10 right here.
Around the same time that is it Man Frog, right?
Probably. Okay. But still. I'm pushing this thing. This thing. I was gonna if my computer was updating for like an hour, I still didn't finish it. I paused it because I didn't say what I got this week, and I was gonna pull this out right here. Yeah, man. Yeah.
I only got 3 books this week. I got the Wind. I guess they're calling it Wind.
Yep.
I could be Wine, but I said Wind. Okay. I got Strange Adventures 2.
Oh, I got that.
How was that?
And I got the 3rd issue of The Question. I have not read these 2 yet. I'm going to read those tomorrow morning before the show.
I'm late on the wagon on the Strange Adventures, so I got 1 and 2.
I enjoyed issue 1, and I trust them enough to make a good miniseries to keep with it.
This is Strange Adventures number 75 from 1953.
75? I got number 1. Top that.
Oh, perfect.
That's impressive.
75.
That is impressive. I have to admit.
75.
Well, who wants these old books anyways? I mean, shit. They smell funny and oh man. Actually, everything you see behind me, these are some of my dad's old books. Look at that. Hey, Rod, where did you get that?
I don't know. What are you talking about? What is this?
Damn.
What I don't know what that is.
That's an A-OK to come to my house.
Yeah, it can.
No, I'm kidding. I don't want it. No.
You're not going to get it, man. You're not
Good.
gonna get it.
I was only kidding.
But it's a thing of beauty.
It would be nice though, but I was only kidding.
It's a thing of beauty. I have to say, to make sure I put it right back in the place where it's supposed to be, right there. It's nice.
It's nice.
John, are you okay with that book? Just showing that to the community?
Absolutely, brother. You got that book fair and square, man, and you've helped me to fund some other stuff that I've been doing with my books. So heck yeah, brother.
Yeah,
I gotta start selling books. I don't know how. I
don't
know how to.
This guy is smart. He knew I was selling a bunch of books. He's like, "What are you gonna sell?" And I sent him all the pictures before my auction. I said, "These are the books I'm going to sell." And he's like, "Okay, I want that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one." He's like, "Give me a price." And I was like, "Okay, I guess about this." And he's like, and then all of a sudden, like PayPal, bling, I got
nice.
That's how we do. We don't play, man. They'll say, "I need some damn money." I said, "Right now, pay."
Boom. And he got, so you got some good, you got that Avengers, you got that first, what is it, the Taskmaster?
Oh, that's a nice one to have.
I sent him that one. I sent him that Miles Morales. He got his pick of the litter. He was like
back in the Avengers box.
Yeah, he was like the kid in the candy store. He got first pick. He went through. He's like, I want this one. I want that one. He got a little collection. Look at him now. He's spinning around. Nice spinning. But for me,
that's pretty awesome.
It paid for me to get my books sent to CGC. That first round of books to go to CGC, and it didn't. I didn't have to do. I like to think I gave him a pretty good deal, but from I got the money that I needed to press to slab my books. So I was very grateful. Yeah. It was definitely team effort, for sure.
Boom.
Yeah, it's you gotta love it when the farmer sends you pictures of his tree before you go. Okay, so I get the pick of all these cherries, right? I want that cherry and that cherry and that cherry.
Yeah, like, I didn't even think. I thought he was just curious. I thought he was just like, "Hey, what are you gonna be selling?" And I just sent him a bunch of pictures, and he's like, "Oh, really? Give me all these. I want these." Well, I think there was a. X-Men 5, wasn't it? The Omega Red.
That's 4, isn't it?
Oh, was it 4? Yeah. First Omega Red was in there somewhere. Yeah, he's like, I want all of these books. I agree. Comics on the Mind. Question issue 1 was amazing. Issue 2 was a little, and I'm hoping issue 3 is also back on the amazing side.
The only thing holding me back from them is the size of the book.
You don't like it? It's too big for you?
Can't handle something big like that.
You have the same problem with women?
What? What the hell was that? What, about women?
I didn't say anything about women.
What?
I am not used to putting something that big in a box.
Oh.
Yeah, well. Oh shit! Hey, so any of you guys actually read that you got to buy, or you're just still, just kind of playing with it? Or how much do you actually get to read?
Would you just say you brought you went in and out? You faded in and out.
I'm sorry. How much did you actually get to read of this week's pickups?
Oh,
I read something. Get it. I think John will approve of me.
This
reading this volume 1.
Hey John, because of
so what do you think of that?
You guys, I'm starting to read this. I'm waiting for I haven't started yet because I'm waiting for number 1, and then I got to pick up number 2 because this is number 3. I got to get those first before I start actually reading it. I picked up, the first one, the metal, and I was lost. I don't know, but I picked this one up. This was all right, but I was still lost in that first one. So we'll see how this goes. But the first one, it wasn't bad.
Dark Knights, is that what you're talking about? Death metal?
Yeah, that one. I was kind of lost in it for some. I just couldn't really grasp it.
Well, what it's doing is
I read this one too.
A Hotel. A lot of people are loving that one.
Yeah, I like this. That's a good read.
That Hotel one is crazy, dude.
That's a good read. It's like
I have to admit, I'm not picking it up.
It's that one. You get the what was it? The DC that had Cain and Abel in it. Was it the House of Mysteries? The two brothers, was it them? And they would start the story, and then that's what that reminds me of, because you have the guy who runs the motel or hotel, whatever, and then the story starts after that. So that's what
the chick is in the bedroom. She wants to leave out the hotel, but as she opens up the briefcase, she's got this whole damn monster in there, whatever the fuck that is. Well, sorry, I just cursed. Usually don't curse.
Easy.
Well, I think it goes with the old joke. Some people think that using a feather is kinky. Kinky's when you use the whole bird. So that's the representation of the chicken in the bedroom.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm hoping to do a show with you on that, brother, at some point. There he is. Look, he's almost done with that first volume, right?
Oh,
wow.
It's good, right? It's good.
Oh, yeah. I come home and my wife is here. I'm like, babe, let me tell you something about this book. We got Daredevil. She's like, who's Daredevil? I'm like, Wilson Fisk, the show. And she's like, what happened? I'm like, oh, damn. All right, I'm full screen right now. So we got Wilson Fisk as,
King. The Rican review.
Well, the worst reviews always comes through me.
Not true.
So, it's like, you got there's a whole bunch of stuff going on right now. So bottom line is that see, you put me on a full screen.
Yeah, I'll bring it off. I got you nervous.
That's right. So I like to see you guys' face.
Yeah.
Damn, holy crap, man. And Wilson Fisk is like, you get all right, can I do a spoiler, man?
Go ahead.
You get all jacked up, and next thing you know, homeboy wants to get saved by the police and be like, yo, I want to be like here. Protect me. I ain't do nothing wrong. I'm just here. This is my review. And next thing you know, Vanessa with the 22 caliber. Boom, 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 boom. Killing people, man. Holy that. I just went different directions. But at the very beginning, the reporter went out there and find out what's going on with the kid.
Dude, I love that story.
That was the coolest thing. At the very end of that story arc, you get the guy from the news reporter. He has the newspaper wrap up, smack him across the head, and just walks out like, he did a good job, man. He was supposed to be covering Kingpin trial, so it was pretty dope. And his whole book, man, goes
I got
back.
a couple questions, Rod. When you first was reading this, right? What was the first thing that kind of threw you back? The first thing you just went, what the fuck?
It was when I saw Kingpin get stabbed everywhere. I'm like, is he really dead? And next thing you know, it goes like 3 months, a year later, a week later, and it goes back and forth. It's a cool thing about it, and it is like so fantastic. I can't even. I'm just like towards the end, as you see right there, got a little bookmark. Yeah. And John was like, "This." He said, "This is the best Daredevil run that ever." ever.
So I mean, I will say I think Bendis gets a lot. Oh, bye, Rob.
You're like, the tie. Oh,
there he is. I think Bendis gets a lot of grief.
Sorry, my bad.
And I understand why Bendis gets a lot of grief. I understand it. I just don't think he gets enough respect because his Daredevil is, I mean, arguably my favorite. It's like Frank Miller and Bendis. I put them next to each other. They're both amazing. Zdarsky is on his way up. It's going to depend on. I mean, Bendis did like hundreds of about 100 issues. So Zdarsky's got, he's only got 20 under his belt. He's got a distance to go. Miller did a huge run, so he's got a high elevated sort of position.
And David Mack on the artwork at the end of this.
Mack and on this page. So Daredevil's fighting outside of his house against a bad guy who's throwing a car at him.
Oh my God! I just found out that villain. It was I
think it's called the Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Hyde, yes.
Yeah. And he throws this car. All of a sudden, it stops in midair with a little bit of webbing on the side. And the next page is just Spidey holding the entire car. And he's just sitting there outside of Daredevil's house. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Was that a rhetorical question?" And you know how to spell? And then he asks him, "Do you know how to spell rhetorical?" Like, it's a great little bit. And then, of course, he throws the car at the bad guy. All great. And then they team up to fight the guy. I just love this whole. And this is, again, 1/3 of what.
That was part of Bendis' run, right?
Yeah, Bendis has 2 more volumes in that run.
I got them.
It's the run for me is just absolutely incredible, and the artwork is amazing. Maleev and Bendis, David Mack, some of the early issues, like Rod was saying. If you're a Daredevil fan, you find them. Rod and I found a great deal on these 3 volumes on eBay. You can find them for a good deal. You don't need to pay the whatever it is. These are $40 a piece. These volumes. You should not spend $120.
I did not pay that for mine.
Is there a question from Old Wolf?
Yes, Mr. Jameson. How does Spider-Man hold the car up with the web?
I was wondering the same thing.
Stop being logical. Stop being logical.
Sorry, it's the alcohol.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
See, I wanted to slap Rod in the face with that, make him fall backwards a little bit. It's a 9.2. It's not that impressive, but like, I got him. I got you.
Yeah.
Good Lord, man.
Mine's only a 9.0. Mine's only a 9.0.
So I paid $35, I think, for mine, but it was still in the poly bag, like the sealed bag that they come in. And I was like, there's no way this thing's a 9.8, but like 35, I was like, sure. I got it pressed and cleaned, and I was happy with the 9.2. That book, the bag had so much rub on those books that you get so much rub.
Yeah.
It's brutal on those books. So 9.8s, I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of them out there, but I just feel like they're harder to find. You get a lot more 4s, 9.4s, 9.2s, 9.6s. Oh, okay,
and
fine.
The guy that
he slaps me. I slap him, he slaps me back. Look at him. He pulls out the book I'm hunting for. So I think I got.
Oh, you still after that too, huh?
In my Daredevil 1 fund, I have $300 sitting in my Daredevil 1 fund. Just waiting. I got to keep building it up. Get a good copy.
I need to do the same thing with a Ghost Rider, so I can get me a Ghost Rider 1.
And I'll check with my friend White Whale Comics because he has one, and I don't know if he's gonna keep it forever. If he's planning, I know he's getting away from superhero comics.
Oh, really? But
if he decides to sell it, I'll let you know. It might have been a gift, so he might have to keep it. Like he might be like obligated.
Right. I've been hammering on this one same people for the past 4 months, and they're trying to sell it for $500 for a 9.0 CGC.
Ooh,
which is worth it. Not worth it.
Yes.
But they haven't been able to sell it. So I approached them 4 months ago. I said, hey, or 3 months ago, I realized it's been a month, and you haven't sold it. So would you take $300? sorry, at this point, we would be in the minus. Our investment in this is considerably larger than that. So, all right, I'll talk to you in 2 weeks. 4 weeks went by. I said, hey, I know you still haven't sold it. I managed to find another 10%. Would you want to sell it for $330? They gave me the exact same line. I said, okay. Another month went by, and I said, look, I've been able to manage to find $350. They said that's coming close to the amount of money that we initially purchased this for. So that was them saying, you're getting close. Well, I'm thinking about if I can send this shit, see, that's where I'm at. If I can send all this shit out as far as all my books I want to send out for Tinian signing, and then some of it's going to be double signed by Tinian and Matina.
Right.
And then I will be selling some of these books. Things I have doubles of, I will be selling some of these. Especially like if it turns out I do have 2 1 in 25 Peach Momoko, and then I get it signed by Tinians and they both come back 9.8s, I will be selling one. So I'm hoping to use that to then buy my Ghost Rider #1.
This is my slabs that I'd be willing to sell at some point or another, and that's where that ultimate is sitting.
It, man.
Because if it gets me
so bad,
if it gets me to Daredevil #1, it's worth it. I got this guy.
Newsstand.
I got this guy. He's sleeping in there.
That will all get you very close.
I was probably sold on the Thor.
Oh, there you go.
You can't smell this Daredevil #1 like I do, man. The smell of it smells golden.
Yeah, what kind of condition are you looking for in the Daredevil one?
I'm looking. If I could get a 5 or a 6, I think I'd be really happy.
I'll take a 0.0.
Got that guy.
You might even have people that are willing to do trade at this point.
I'll take the lowest grade. Oh, damn. 9.2.
Oh, Ron wants it. Rod wants it.
Oh, I got that one. I
think I got a deal going on this guy.
Nice.
I think this guy might be headed to the UK to Hydra Collectibles.
Oh, Mark? Oh.
Yeah, Luke. I think Luke is agreeing on that one. I got this guy.
Oh.
Oh,
and of all of those, the one I'm least likely to sell is that guy.
Yeah.
I think this guy I might hold on to the longest.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Those are slabs that at some point I'm willing to trade, sell to kind of work my way over to.
Well, I got that one. I got that one signed, but not the white cover.
Ooh.
And Donnie Case gave me shit.
I remember you telling me that.
Man.
So I've got that, and I've got 2 boxes of books for an auction at some point. Eventually, I'll kind of sell those off. Yep, Immortal Hulk, Spider-Gwen, because honestly, I need to put together a little bundle for my Daredevil. That's the Grail. That's the one, And if I can get it in a really nice grade, a 6.0 would be great.
Mm.
And yeah, somebody was asking, I think Kachung, Bendis is on the indie side. Powers is it's a crappy TV show. They blew it on the TV show. It's a really good read. I really do like that comic book.
But if you were following it at the time, which I was, it really just kept getting choppier and choppier as it got along, where it would come out in March and then July and then January the following year. It would just take longer and longer between issues.
In a trade, it's amazing. Without any gaps, it's a binge.
Let's all get a trade.
And Rob, how far did you get with it? Did you go all the way or?
Oh yeah, go all the way.
I know you don't kiss and tell. I don't know how far you went. Burke family needs to pump the brakes. Come on, brother. Power Rangers is better than Powers. You need to back up there, brother. Back off. So
you know what? I guess maybe no. You know what? Like I've always said, it's hard to argue opinion. So if that is really your opinion, You're welcome to it.
You can have it.
But I don't think that's really actually a consensus.
I think it was the 8th. I think in the 8th trade, somewhere around the 8th trade, they did this amazing Powers did this amazing history of the Powers universe almost, where it was like they paused. The comic book is about like a city of superheroes and the police officers who investigate superhero problem crimes, right? So if there's a crime like sexual harassment on the X-Men or something, these are the guys that investigate. If there's a murder from an Avengers team member is murdered, these are the cops that investigate. What? It's a really good comic, but at some point they pause the comic and they tell you the history of the universe. And this one detective on this team used to be a superhero, but now he's a police officer. They give you his entire life story in a single trade, and it is mind-blowing. It is like the entire comic book is reframed. The entire universe is given a shift, and I think it's one of the best. It's one of the best heel turns I've ever seen in a comic book.
When that happened in the book, I remember it kind of made you think that, okay, so if you lived since the dawn of time, your frame of mind is you can only really remember maybe a couple hundred years at best. Because really, between all of us, do you remember childhood? Do you remember 10 years ago? Sometimes if you live long enough, decades turn into, maybe a couple days here and there that you remember out of any of them. Right. And the further back you go, you just remember just segments here and there. And after a while, you forget entire loves, entire lifetimes that you've had with people. You've forgotten children that you've had. You've forgotten hundreds of years just because it's just been that much time over a span of the size of a grain on a beach. That was his life. And now he's a cop. When they sprung that on you, it's like, holy shit. And then they really didn't follow it very far because he's supposed to be the defender of the earth, and then he loses all his powers. Spoiler alert.
It was such a great moment for that series that I almost feel like I could stop right there and be like, that was the whole book. Like I dug it. I was so blown away by that trade. It made everything that I had, if everything I had enjoyed up to then was like B+, A-, wow, this is really kind of cool. That was the thing that made me go back and say, okay, this whole thing's an A now. Like I would upgrade everything up to this point now because that reframed everything so beautifully.
So here's another thing. Have you read it only once or have you reread it again?
A few times. Yeah, I've read most up to that point. I've read it a few times. I don't know how much past that I've gotten.
So I don't know if it's just me, but when I read it over again, it seemed kind of like, I guess Perry just watched Empire Strikes Back for the first time. And it's much like that. If you read the first, just like the first movie, if you watch the movie or read the first part of the book, you'd never know that Darth Vader is the father. Kind of like this guy's been around since the dawn of time. You wouldn't have known that way back when Who Killed Retro Girl.
Right.
I know who's my father right now. I'm looking at Old Wolf. Old Wolf is my father.
So what you're saying is,
you're saying is my father. John Thomas who Kids is my father. I'm just saying. These guys are.
You make me proud, Rod. You're my son. I'm very proud of you.
And not near meant. It's always meant. It is always meant. You guys are my fathers, man.
So what you're saying, though, Rob, is that the context and the legacy of the run has taken something away from the reveal?
I don't think that at all. I mean, I actually think that it was one of those clever sort of, we can work this in because we're relaunching the series. Up to that point, it was basically just a cop series, very noir, and it would be out of the blue, but they just wanted to take it to the next stage. It was still a cop book at its heart, but now all of a sudden you have this context that he's basically Space Highlander, but not in the shitty way, like Highlander 2. It's like Brian Michael Bendis was at his best on Powers. It's unfortunate after he had that heart attack. But back then, he was at the height of his career, and he was going, okay, well, if I'm doing all this superhero bullshit over here, what would that look like on a cop show?
Right.
So he just each time, but every time they relaunched the series, the less I started caring.
See, now I don't see it as a relaunch. I'm reading it in trade. It's just one epic story, and I don't have the gaps that you have. So it's a different.
I like it, but not enough to keep anymore because it takes up about this much of a long box.
See, I only have.
I want to say something about Michael Bendis because that's how I got introduced to Bendis because through Ultimate Spider-Man. That whole run, that's how I found Bendis. And now you're reading it, and I was like, "Holy coconuts, man!" So that was my introduction to Bendis.
My first Bendis stuff was the Daredevil New Avengers. Your first Bendis was this. So now you're reading the Daredevil stuff, and I'm reading this stuff. We just trade it. We're trading it back and forth.
Yeah.
For me, it was Daredevil because way back when I was a kid in high school, I got hooked on the Frank Miller Daredevil, so I have all that, and I just never stopped reading it. So for me, it just, I have a copy in my box. I'll pull it out if you want. But so if it was just the next thing that you were reading, all of a sudden after Joe Quesada and Kevin Smith, here's this new guy that's a pulp writer, does a lot of noir, and he was an artist on some book until Quesada went, yeah, no, we just want you to write it. You're a horrible artist. But when you go back and read Jinx and Goldfish, I read all that stuff because he was a really good writer once, and then he just sort of, I don't know how to finish that sentence.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've read the first half of his New Avengers run, and I loved it. I've read his entire Daredevil run, and I've loved it. I'm about 1/6. Hey, Kai.
Hello.
I'm 1/6.
I just got back from my Warframe. I'm gonna go back to that.
He's playing video games.
But I'm 1/6 of the way through this. I'm about 10 trades through Powers, and I've loved all of it that I've read. I know that he fell off for people on different points, but for those, if I was just to take him on first 10 trades of Powers, the first few trades of Ultimate Spider-Man, his Daredevil run, his New Avengers, he's amazing. All that stuff is just top tier.
Well, I think what he did, at least in my opinion, the best, because he was writing almost every single book, it seemed, he was like the equivalent to Wolverine as a writer. So he had his fingers in everything from Spider-Man, Daredevil, X-Men. Doesn't matter who they were, he put their voice to the character. So if he threw in his version of the character is not the same version that Chris Claremont was. I know this because I'm reading this now, finally. So when you go back and you read other runs of other characters, I could see how Bendis went kind of like the movies. I like bits and pieces of what I read here and there, but I don't have a full understanding of the character, so I'm just going to do what I want to do. That's why he did what he did with Wonder Man, with his ionic powers and turned him into passive, I'm not going to hurt anybody, and then he became almost like Antifa. So he really was able to interweave an entire universe, and he was able to do it for a long period of time, but I don't know if he just went over to DC and thought that he could pull it off all over again. Jesus Christ, my cat's attacking the door. That was my cat.
Psycho Cat.
Yeah.
You know, by the way, I just want everyone to know Taco Cat spelled backwards is the same. Just saying.
Do you know what they call that?
I believe you believe that.
God.
It's a palindrome.
Yeah.
And one of my favorites is I'm a lasagna hog, go hang a salami.
Oh.
That's the same.
That's the longest sentence.
I'm a lasagna hog, go hang a salami. Just something to enjoy.
You know, mine are just one word: race car.
Race car. There you go.
You know, but wow, that's.
I'm a lasagna hog. Go hang a salami.
Yeah, Old Wolf is writing it down. I can see him. I can see him.
I'm a lasagna hog. Go hang a salami. There you go.
Okay.
Just enjoy that. That's for you, Old Wolf. I can already tell. That was for you, bro.
Yeah,
it's in there.
I think it's actually the name of. I remember reading it. It's I think it's either the name or part of a book about palindromes.
It actually sounds like a great college band. I'm just saying.
Lasagna hog. Go hang a salami.
So for Rod, who's reading,
hey, Old Wolf.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
You actually you want to tell the community about the Comic Talk book of the month, right?
Yes, I do. Right here, Yawn Man. This book is going to be on Comic Tom's top 10. I wasn't want to say 100. Top 10 books next month, but it's all up to you.
It's actually going to be It's actually going to be so hot. It's going to be the top one of the minus 100. So just so you know, it's so hot. It's below.
Go out. I'm telling you, get this. We all saw this last week. Get this week. This right here, Yawn Man. This is the book to get. I'm telling you right now, this is going to spike.
What's it go in a 9.8?
Oh, about $1.50.
150, right?
150, yes. Move the decimal point a little over. But anyways, get it now. Kachun, get it now.
Hey,
it's Kachun's birthday. Why don't you
know what? I'm going to tell you something right now.
Get it now.
If you get that graded, and if Garbage Pail Kids stickers come out, next thing you know, you're hitting on that's a mine. That is like a slab of gold.
Why you guys are talking? I went through this whole book, and Savage Dragon does not show up in this at all. Just to let you know.
Are you trying to tell me not to buy it now?
No, I'm telling you, you should buy it. One book that you have that he's not in it.
Oh man!
I'm telling you, buy one for each for the kids.
Rod knows that Savage Dragon is fire.
I love it, man. You hooked me up with the story. I'm digging it, man. The first issue was fire.
Fire.
I really, it's my true opinion that I believe that Sam Keith is really a truly underestimated person. And what I mean by person, I don't mean a writer. I don't mean an artist. If you actually get to know, you can even look onto some of the posts. When you kind of get to know who this person is, you're like, this guy is fucking cool, man. He really is. He's a really cool. Yeah, Mac shit is cool. You know, and the depth, you know, of how he writes as far as, because there's a lot of psychological stuff in his work. You know, the depth of what he writes, it gives you a depth of who he is as a person. And it's pretty cool. Yeah, they got all that Max shit. Yeah, Sam Keith, man. Recently, you know, he was doing that Batman Max combo.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that.
I got 1 and 3, and somehow I got skipped on 2. I'm trying to get every issue of Max. I have most all of them except for like the last 5 issues, issue 28 or 27, 28, and Gay Comics number 24.
Gay Comics number 24.
I knew that would throw you for a loop. Yeah, he's on the cover and he makes a special crossover appearance. I only just found out about it tonight from the Key Collector app from that Nick's Picks Volume 6. I'm just scrolling through and I go, holy shit, that's the Max. I discover new things all the time.
You know, I used to love watching Max on Look what TV.
Oh, my good time.
Oh yeah.
And guess who was his pal?
Yeah, I got that too.
Yon Man is his pal.
Dragon.
That's right. That's right.
That's the better book. That's
This is
not
like
the
Kevin
good book.
Bacon
That's the
right
good
here.
book.
This is
That's
Kevin
the
Bacon
bad book.
right
Good
here.
book, bad book. Good book, not so good book.
Killing this. Don't be killing this. This is like Kevin Bacon. One step away from Kevin Bacon.
That's Robert De Niro.
Look at that face.
That's not Robert De Niro.
Buy this book. Get it over the top. We're so close. We are so close. There's only been two purchases. Only one been purchased in the last 20-some years.
Damn, the whole spine is already jacked up. So you keep jacking it like this.
Yeah,
So the
keep
price
jacking like that, right?
Oh jeez. Damn.
If you sit on your left hand, if you sit on the opposite hand and it goes numb, it's called a stranger. Kevin knows.
We're just talking about this the other day.
Kevin knows.
So awesome.
We're just talking about this the fucking other day.
Hey John, let's get back to this one right here, man. Let's get back to this. Let's
So
get
Rod,
back.
What is that? Daredevil?
yep, that's the Bendis Daredevil. So Rod,
Yeah.
This is the last
this is-
13 issues.
I've been
That's a
slowly getting the individual issues, Rod. Oh,
I don't need it. After this right here, the thing
I
is so
didn't know that.
gigantic. This book is like it's like 2 panels.
I just love the cover work, whether it's Mac, doing his watercolor thing. I just freaking love it.
Oh damn!
Right,
That's gorgeous.
Mac. Here's the reporter Ben Foster. And
I say when I see his name, I say Urch or Urich.
Ben Urich. Yeah, there you go.
Urich.
Look at that watercolor, man. David Mack is fire. There's a good one. I love these covers. And then, of course, it gets great with Maliv as well. There's some Maliv covers that I just absolutely love his style as well. And I tend to post these a bunch on Instagram. I love this cover.
Oh my God, that one! Yes. Oh,
When the news reports that Daredevil is Matt Murdock, and they publish it in the Daily Globe. Such a great.
Want to tell them why?
And Matt Murdock is like, what the hell with you guys? I'm gonna sue you or whatever, $400 million bucks, and I'm not Daredevil.
Right.
It was so
good.
Wow.
Oh damn, guys, man! I got White Tiger in this one. I see White Tiger get shot.
Yeah, that's a great storyline, right?
Yeah.
What about the update of Typhoid?
I haven't got to the other one.
Typhoid Mary is smoking hot. Come on now.
Oh yeah, she is. She's sexy.
And then you get the bullseye with the cards close up. I love that. And then one of the issues.
God, all you guys are just breaking out all the rad Daredevil shit, man. I got no Daredevil. Well,
Good.
This cover is one of my favorites with Daredevil sitting on the throne like Kingpin, all freaking badass, no mask, just like I own Hell's Kitchen. Nobody else owns Hell's Kitchen. I own.
Damn, that's a beautiful cover.
I love this book. I posted that book probably too much on my Instagram.
But imagine him, man. He's like blind.
What about Samurai?
Oh, I don't have that cover.
oh,
I love this run. This run is so good. The covers are good. The story is good.
Kevin,
you just have all those books
on this all Daredevil stuff we're talking about right now.
This is all still
Is
the
this
best.
part of any of the run?
The sexy Black Widow. Look at all fire there.
I have to admit, the only Daredevil I was exposed to was that
after he finished.
90.
That is after he finished, I believe. Yeah.
So is that part of the graphic novels, or is that?
I don't know where that fits in. It might have been like one of the minis. There's several little stories. The numbering is screwy. I love the throwback to when he first became Daredevil. You got the old school roadsters across the front, like gangster style.
You gotta stop right now, man.
You're killing Rod. I
can't believe how much Daredevil you have. You got all kinds of fucking books.
These are just the
for a guy that talk about too much Daredevil. You have a lot of Daredevil.
I know Rod loves the Brubaker too, which is like the follow-up storyline.
That's how there was one issue I posted on IG, and I seen that pretty much White Tiger is dead. I was like, what the hell was going on here? And then John was like, that's why you gotta read the Bendis run. And that's why I got it right here. And I was scrolling through the pages, and it's right here. It's here. I was like, holy crap, man.
This is when
I was like, oh my goodness.
I didn't want you to be upset about it because it's like obviously a great Puerto Rican superhero.
Yeah.
But the twist on what they do with White Tiger was really cool. I thought that was really a great way to do it.
Oh my God. And I was like, at the very end, Daredevil was like, got turned. Pretty much. I was like, because I reached out to you right away and I was like, oh.
You were so pissed. You're like, how could they do that to my White Tiger? And I was like,
yeah, man.
I was like, no, because Matt represents White Tiger in court, and then it goes horribly wrong.
Yes.
And then Matt has to teach the new White Tiger how to be the White. It's so cool. I dug all of that.
I missed that whole series.
It was dope.
I think I also like the way Bendis spends a lot of time on Matt Murdock, the lawyer. So you get to see him in court. You get to see him dealing with being charged criminally for being Daredevil. Because once people find out that he is Daredevil, then they start suing him for being Daredevil. And he's got to go to court every day. And he's got to lie and say, no, I'm not Daredevil. And he needs to have like bodyguards. So Luke Cage and Jessica Jones are his bodyguards all day, like walking him to court every day. I dig all that stuff. And then, like you're saying, the White Tiger stuff, he represents White Tiger in court, and it goes horribly wrong. And I don't want to give it away, but then a new White Tiger comes in, and she doesn't know what to do with this power. So she goes to Matt, and Matt has to like teach her, but he can't be Daredevil. He's got to pretend to be Matt Murdock, and that Matt Murdock has knowledge about this stuff. It's a great dynamic between the two of them. I really dig all that stuff.
All right. I'll have to pick that up.
Well, I mean, what you've done is you made it seem like I just missed out on such a great story in like history. It's like, fuck, where have I been?
Yeah.
And remember, I just came back from a long hiatus, people.
Well, it's. I think if you bought it at cover price, it's like $100 of trades. But if you find them on eBay, I think Rod and I found them for $60 or something like that on eBay. You can buy all three of those giant thick trades for $60. It's a ton of reading. I think once
I read them, Kevin, I'll send them to you, man. So don't worry about it.
No, that's all good. No. Actually, like I told you guys, man, I've been able to hit my guy up. He's getting rid of a bunch of stuff. I'm picking it up, and he may have all the stuff. I just now need.
Bullseye.
I mean, it's about 100, almost. It's a little less than 100 issues of Daredevil that Bendis worked on, and it's great stuff. Hey, Rob, what was the issue?
100 issues. You think about that.
That's the first.
That's fucking 8 years.
Frank Miller.
You wanted to? I know the one you want to see.
Rob, what was the first issue that had Black Widow's name in the title? Oh, there it is. Beautiful.
Issue, I have it right here. Well, this is the first issue that Black Widow's in the book.
Okay.
Right.
And the first issue that they wind up having it titled is this.
October of 70...
71,
72?
What issue number is it? 90 something? What?
92.
So
72.
for those that don't know, the original title Daredevil kept going, but they changed it to Daredevil and the Black Widow for like 12 issues or 20 issues, something like that.
About that, yeah. It's kind of like how they did that with Captain America and the Falcon. The Falcon just stayed on the title for much longer.
Right.
What had happened is during the time of how should I say, there was a complaint and they want to consolidate issues. So one of the complaints is that the charged amount was going up and that there were so many different issues, it was hard for people to keep up. So what they did is they started doing all these joint issues of this with that, this featuring that. So that's how you had all these joint issues happening in the, what was that, late 60s, early 70s I was going through. And then you had things that were 2 and 3. So like the 3-in-1, 2-in-1, triple ups, all that other stuff that happened in the late 70s. And yeah, it went away. But what it was a consolidation thing that they were actually meeting with the how should I say, what people were asking for, and all they really were doing was just hitting people harder with a little bit more money for essentially what you could have essentially got if you would have just bought it in 3 separate issues.
Right.
So they stopped it. As soon as, that's why you heard it, seen it. As soon as the early 80s came on, they stopped all that. You didn't see any of it anymore. Yeah, I forgot what I was watching, but they were doing a whole show on why they did it. And it was all the publishers that were really pushing it. It was interesting.
That's cool.
Hey, you know
I want to say
happened?
there was another comic that became something and Black Widow. And I can't, maybe it was Captain America or something that became, I felt like they kept sticking Black Widow on as like a, hey, let's add a little lady action to this comic or that comic. And I don't think it worked for Daredevil. I mean, I like the two of them together, but I think he was still like, wasn't one of those issues was him like slapping her on the butt, and you know, he was just very, very misogynistic for a lawyer. I mean, he's supposed to be a guy like a lawyer, but like, you know, slapping Natasha on the rear might not have been the most ethical move.
I seen the old issue of that, and I was just like, exactly, John. I was just like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then he does. He's like, slaps her or whatever.
In Marvel Team Up, she teamed up a lot with Spider-Man.
Yep.
Maybe that's the only thing about.
Maybe.
And that's what I was saying. You know, the whole Marvel team-ups, you know, the 2-in-1, 3-in-1s, all that shit. You know, they were doing all that. And she was one of them. I think they were doing it with like Power Man. They were doing it with a few people.
Well, Power Man, didn't Power Man with Iron Fist? Then it changed it over,
Yes.
right? It was Power Man, or Man for Hot
48
or whatever, and they changed over.
Why do I keep forgetting that?
All right. So when I was going through this book, right, you know, he's got 2 girlfriends, right? So we already know that extra, whatever. But then the other one, Natasha, and I was like, Natasha, I was like reading. All right, guys, you're gonna crap me all you want, but that's Black Widow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on? She whips out the wig, and I'm like, red hair. And I was like, wait a minute, I know her. I gotta make sure. I'm like reading and typing. I'm like, two ex-girlfriend.
They had a nice on-again, off-again
thing. A freaking douchebag, man.
Yeah. They always had like a physical relationship, not an emotional one, where they would just like bang. that was about it, basicly.
That's most of his relationships.
Well, he's blind. A lawyer, superhero. and he gets a hot chicks. So
He's
imagine
He also put a woman in an insane asylum.
Right.
A girlfriend he really loved, he drove literally crazy.
That's what I was going to
Brubaker.
say. The only one that wasn't like all about the banging was Karen, and that was the one that was actually meaningful until obviously.
I maintain she was going nuts anyways. He just helped her.
Oh, well, obviously that's the whole born again storyline. She is an addict so far gone that she sells his secret identity for a fix. That's the power of that. So she already knew that he was Daredevil.
That's a crack shit.
Yeah, the beginning of that born again storyline is she is so far gone, she's willing to sell his identity for a fix. Go ahead. Sorry, Tony.
Sorry.
Yes, Tony.
I'm sorry, Mr. J. I have Edward's Born Again graphic novel here, and I've read it. And I was just wondering if you knew anybody who I could send it to.
This guy right there, that guy. That guy needs it.
I'll sign it, and I'll sign it, and I'll send it over to him.
I have his address if he's unwilling to give it willingly.
Thank you, Mr. J.
Most awesome. And I think that's the perfect place to end this because everyone, we know when I'm out, we're out. So, hey, everyone, I want everyone. The crew's over to Discovery Bay. Why? It's finally Disco After Dark again. And we all know how well it went last time. So, everyone from us at Comic Talk, we appreciate you hanging out, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you, guys.
Good night,
Take
everybody.
care.
Thank you. Thanks, Kev.
Good night, guys.